So, Vishwas, I just remember one element, and I would definitely like to share this with you, is my parents have been so much open for these kind of talks and candid talks that the first book that my father gifted me after I achieved puberty and he started observing my body language was Kama Sutra. And let me tell you, for the benefit of audience, that it's not only about sex or intimacy, it's a beautiful way of life. I have read that book cover to cover many a times. Vatsayan has made many references and many examples. So I strongly encourage to read this. Now, when we spoke about intimacy, making time for each other, we also spoke about not a planned activity or considering your partner's needs equally important and trapped emotions and feelings. Let me take you a little backward on the marriages where everything is an expectation and a framework has been set that once you get married you need to have a child within 2 years, 3 years, and that acts as an emotional pressure, and that kind of takes away the entire purpose of pleasure from the activity. So what's your take on it?
Well, not only my take, but my experience, I would say. I got married, and for 6 years, we didn't have a child.
Okay.
And as it would happen in any of our families, लोग आके directly or indirectly यही पूछेंगे कि कुछ problem है क्या?
हाँ.
Okay. So, no, there wasn't any problem. It's just that we want to be prepared. We want to be responsible when we want to make that choice to give a birth to another life forms. Okay. So, I, in fact, would strongly advise that as a couple, if you at all want to have a child, take your time. Don't go by this established norms कि अभी मैं 27 साल में मेरी शादी हो गई और अगर मैं अभी बच्चा पैदा नहीं करूँगा तो मेरे रिटायरमेंट होने तक वो बच्चा तैयार नहीं होगा. Okay, so that's a kind of financial transaction you are making with a life which has still not conceived in first place and still not born. So I highly recommend that you should take time. Rather, one of the aspect, if you want to live together or you want to get married, you should discuss is that, boss, look, I want next 5 years for just 2 of us or next 7 years for 2 of us, and then we will take a stock of the situation whether we are ready to go or not ready to go. Okay. And this will change. Sometimes it might happen that you have decided that you will wait for 5 years, but after 3 years you may feel that, hey, look, things look settled. Why not we have a child? And it's fine. It can't be forced upon on any one partner. And definitely it can't be forced upon just because my family want it.
Oh, yeah.
Your family may want many things in life, but that's not something that you should expect me to deliver because your family wants. That means you are not your man or you are not your woman of your own. You are governed and owned by somebody. So since you yourself is not independent and free to make your choice, I think you shall not force upon another person to go for an issue. But having said that, whenever you go for a child, you should be well planned and well prepared.
Yeah.
Because how you nurture that newborn will shape his or her psyche. Again, it will come back to the very topic of this podcast, which is emotionally yours, is that how you bring about a newborn shapes his or her emotional journey or a journey of feelings for rest of his or her life. And this is something that we grossly neglect. So it has to be a conscious choice, not thirsted upon choice. Because with consciousness comes responsibility. With consciousness comes disciplined rebellion to grow something, to nurture something that will be independent on his or her own feet and not be a mirror image of who you are. Or it will not be something that you are nurturing to fulfill your unfulfilled ambitions or your desires. Okay. And so therefore, I strongly believe that it has to be a choice of a woman at first place, because she is the one who's going to go through the pain. She's the one who is living two lives in a single life form.
True.
And unless and until woman doesn't consent to me to go for an issue because of societal pressure or family pressure, is as criminal as unconsented sexual interactions. And I think I'm very clear on that.
Great. So what you're talking about is the reproduction is not the only purpose of the marriage, right? Whereas, in the societal forms, it's all about the framework. Now that you've got married, you need to plan, and it becomes a financial planning, it becomes a transaction, so on and so forth. And then you started our discussion with the rebel, rebel in you. I would gladly tell you that I am the second one, by the way. All right. I rebelled against engineering, and I am an engineering dropout, by the way. Okay. Because I felt that engineering was forced upon me. And I was true to myself, fortunately, at that point of time, with understanding parents who supported my decision and came out of it. Now, when we speak about rebel with a cause, that's what the Star War analogy that we speak about. Whenever you started putting your views like this openly, what kind of resistance that you faced? A, B, what was the emotional impact on you of those, resistance or those kind of, some criticism, and how did you overcome it?
Okay, so for me, life has been a journey of rebellionship. So that came very naturally, because I think I learned this rebellionhood from my mom. Okay, somebody who did not have good education but still became an entrepreneur in her own right, and not only one, but grew up 4 kids, established them. So she was a rebel, and she was a rebel ahead of her time, I would say, given the family situations that we are or we were. And so I learned from her. For me, my parents didn't stop me to express my thoughts. Okay, they may not agree with my thoughts, but they never said that this is wrong or right. So that decision ability, whether something is right or wrong, was given to me. And because it was given to me, probably I didn't have to go through a struggle at home. Societally, yes. When I today talk about marriage as an institution, I talked about people being in love with themselves first. I talked about freedom to choose.
Yeah.
I also, in my scientific pursuit, often talk about doing things that are neglected by others. Society will look down upon you. But it is the same society, when you get accolade, will say, you know what, मुझे पूरा भरोसा था कि तुम ही ये कर पाओगे. ओके, तो सोसाइटी इज समथिंग, आपके हुतात्मा होने पर आपको 2 फूल चढ़ाने जब आएंगे तभी भी ये बोलेंगे कि अरे मैंने बताया था ना कि ये वाला काम मत कर, खाली पीली मर गया. ओके, बट if you become successful, the same society will come and say, Vishwas, मेरे को एक्चुअली हिम्मत नहीं हुई तुम्हें आके ये बताने की कि तुम सक्सेसफुल होंगे. ओके, सो सोसाइटी इज इन अ फेकिंग मोड एट ऑल टाइम. Okay, so it is for us as an individual to decide whether you want to be affected by what society says, what your peers says, or you do what you feel is the right. आप सबकी सुन सकते हो, करो वही जो आपके अंतरात्मा को पसंद है. और जब अंतरात्मा की आवाज आपको कुछ चीजें करने के लिए सुनाती है, तो उन चीजों में परमात्मा भी आपके सामने आड़े नहीं आएगा, क्योंकि अंतरात्मा की आवाज ही तो परमात्मा की आवाज है.
True.
And to be that Paramatma's voice, you have to be integrally intimate with yourself. Okay, so intimacy is not about sexuality. Intimacy is a lot about spiritually truthful, spiritually yours, spiritually awakened, and some to an extent that it should take you to that level of samadhi. Okay, because samadhi is actually a state of nothingness. I'll often talk about in my programs, people talk about India as a land of Kama Sutra. If you have ever visited Khajuraho,
I did.
The exterior of Khajuraho is extremely erotic.
Yes.
Okay, all different poses, all different kriyas in Sambhog. As you walk from the galleys of the temple, the inner sanctum sanctorium of the temple is nothing but a plain wall. And it's dark.
Yes.
That moment of how you feel in that innermost sanctum sanctorium is the moment of nothingness. That is samadhi. That is superconsciousness. That means sexuality or sex as we practice is a journey to lead to that nothingness, to lead to that purity, to lead to that truthness that no matter what happens to you will not change, will not alter, will not be changed from what kind of bribes and what kind of different benefits you are being offered. Okay, and to be that true human being, I think I'll come back again. That is where we need to be intimately integrated together with our own self.
True. And this definitely, I had that experience when I visited Khajuraho or read Kama Sutra, and so it's all about Sambhog se Samadhi tak is what Osho speaks about. So going from one to the other, people, let me tell you that Vishwas has written a very good book called Vishwas Sutras, where he's spoken about certain sutras or success mantras, which are summed up. Some of them are as basic as discipline, innovation, as basic as acceptance, freedom to apologize, and very importantly, you've spoken about listening skills. And this is where emotional intelligence talks about listen to yourself, listen to the emotions. Self-awareness is the beginning. When we talk about listening to ourselves or listening to others, this is where a major failure happens, especially in an interpersonal relationship area, be it your office setup, corporate setup, or your family setup, or your other relationships, or social or friends relationships for that matter. Why is it that we have started becoming more and more angry country over the period of years? And listening to ourselves, listening to others has always been sidetracked or has taken up a backseat.
Well, Pratik, if I have to divulge on this particular aspect of listening, I think what we are today and our ability to listen to is actually a result of a century old faking that we have been doing. We have been told very early in our childhood that you have to look good, you have to behave good, you have to be decent, you have to perform good. Okay? जब भी आप किसी के घर में जाओ, छोटा बच्चा होता है तो माँ बाप बोलते हैं चिन्नू पिन्नू इधर आओ, थोड़ा डांस करके दिखाओ अंकल को. We never ask whether that child really want to dance or that child really want to sing a song. At that point in time, that child simply want to go and be playful with the guest. Then we say, नहीं ऐसा नहीं कर सकते हो तुम, अंकल हो. अंकल है तो क्या, अंकल ऊपर से टपके हुए, अंकल भी तो यही के है. We never allow people to express themselves freely and openly. Because we never allow people to express themselves, to listen to themselves, because before you express, you will have to listen to yourself.
True.
We don't allow. We have preconditioned. So our ability of listening has eroded over a time. In fact, I always say that listening is inversely proportional to your age. More the age, less what you listen. Okay? Now, because of which, when you are conversing, whether at a professional level or at a personal level, you are often preparing an answer or a reaction or a reply to another person. So, you are pretending to listen to. At times, you don't even have that decency to pretend. You immediately start responding. So, this is an outcome of the hypnotization that society has thirsted upon us to look good, to be the best performing at all times. So, our ability to listen has almost eroded to nil. And in today's fast-paced world, leadership is also conceived differently. Leadership is conceived about giving orders. Leadership is considered about giving sermons. It's considered about preaching people without practicing it. Okay? And therefore we follow our leaders. And because we see them the way they are, we think that's normal. And so we never come to terms with ourselves. We never allow ourselves to listen to. You know, often leader says कि मैं 18 घंटे काम करता हूँ. So we understood that 18 घंटे गुलामी करना is normal. Okay. और गुलाम बनने का अर्थ ही यही है कि आपकी इच्छाएं, आपके डिजायर्स मायने नहीं रखते हैं. इसका मतलब आपको अपनी नहीं सुननी है, दूसरों की बातों को आपको ज़्यादा तवज्जो देना है. And that's why that ability of listening has
come down,
greatly eroded.
Okay. So ability to listen, ability to listening to yourself, your own desires has eroded over the period of time, and that probably has created this unrest or performance pressures that we've spoken about. As a result, it has taken a complete toll on our corporate lives, work lives, our overall relationships, the way we manage, because we have been trained to speak not to listen. And that is where we always say a great communicator speaks really well. Whereas what I believe is a great communicator listens more effectively. So, on that note, we have really, really had an enjoyable discussion, a great conversation with Dr. Vishwas Chavan. Dr. Vishwas Chavan has been a friend, and the first book that he's gifted me, Vishwa Sutra, I would strongly recommend everybody to go through it. And this is where we have been pretty candid on the conversation. It was lovely talking to you, Vishwas, and many, many thanks for gracing us with your presence on Emotionally Yours with Pratik. Keep watching Emotionally Yours with Pratik. More exciting things coming in the next episode. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And enjoy the time and enjoy yourself.
So it was wonderful talking to you, Vishwas, and many thanks for coming over for this podcast, Emotionally Yours with Pratik. And the kind of conversation that we had, I'm sure you're going to find it very, very enriching and very thoughtful, knowledgeful, so on and so forth. And keep watching Emotionally Yours with Pratik for many such episodes. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Vishwas.
Well, Pratik, it was just an amazing journey. It brought me back into my own memorabilia. So thank you for inviting for this podcast. I would simply say that the mission that you are on is an amazing mission, right mission at the right point in time in human history. All the very best for doing what you are doing and being who you truly are. Just be intimate with yourself.
So thank you, Vishwas. May we request you to complete a small ritual from our side. This cup that we have. So may we request you to autograph this mug, and another mug I will autograph for you and give it to you as a memory.
Well, that's a wonderful thing to do. And here am I. That's for you.
Thank
Pratik.
you. Thank you very much. And this is another mug that I will sign it for you, and as a memory, I will give it to you. Thank you.
Thank you.